Test, 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 test. Do we have stuff going on here? Testing, 1, 2. Alright, that seems to be working. Hey, what's up? This is Dave for What's Up Dave, my daily stream where I just catch up with my friends on the internet, let them know what's going on. And today, if you can't tell, was the day I got stung by a million bees. But no, not really. I went to the dermatologist for the first time to have like a procedure done to remove these lesions called, I might be mixing up the terminology, sebaceous hyperplasias, which essentially is kind of like an oil-filled mound underneath your skin in your hair follicle. And the oil in there has become stuck, trapped, so it's like a little oil reservoir. The way you treat it is you take a tiny electrified needle and you poke it into it and zap it, and this fries the oil and tissue that's in there, and then they scrape away like the remains of it. So I'm covered with like all these bandages, and they actually put 3 of these little these are just regular bandages to cover the sites that were still bleeding when I left. And but then I asked for 2 more of them, so I could have 5. 3 didn't seem like enough. 4 is like a bad number in Chinese numerology. 5 seemed okay. Plus I wanted one right in the forehead, which was this is where the big lump of it was. I wonder if I can. I might actually have a photo of that someplace. Let me see if I can grab it. What else that's coming up? What else is going on today for show and tell? Let me check my chat notes here. For show and tell, there's a couple new things that arrived, and I've been saving them up to show. In the meantime, it looks like this is still coming up here on the other side. Let me switch to aux plus screen. There we go. That's not what I want to show. I want to go to the library, and I want to go to camera uploads and synchronize that. There's a picture of some ribs that I smoked, I think on Monday. Maybe last week even. Why is this taking so long? That came out pretty well. I still have like 4 of them left in the freezer and vacuum sealed. So, oh, hello kitty. The kitty's come to say hello. Computer's running very slowly for them right now. I'm not sure why. Oh, the cat is here. Yeah. Yeah, here's some pictures. So I took some pictures just to show. So like right here, you can see this lump that's over here. If I can zoom in more on it. Horrifying. And this was just me before going in. And this is after. This is kind of gross. I'm sorry. This is after they got zapped. So you can see the big one got zapped. It's not a very good, very sharp picture. You can see some bleeding from like where I got zapped before. And this was like the fun picture I took afterwards. But in a few days we should see if this looks any better. In the meantime, I'm not allowed to wash my face because that might damage the skin. But I'm hopeful to have like less blemishes on my face. That real big one really bothered me for a long time. Part of my overall personal aesthetics improvement. So yeah, so let's just go to the show and tell now. So the first thing I'm going to look at is, let's start with the toy. Let me go get it. So I had ordered, I've gotten into collecting anime figures, I guess. I only had 1, and now I had 2, and then like I was watching Sword Art Online 2, which is an anime about virtual MMORPGs. And MMORPGs, multiplayer online role-playing games on computers. Like it's one of the, I guess it's something I'm interested in. It combines games with social stuff and like social interaction, and that's always been kind of a fascination for me. So Sword Art Online is one of the popular animes in this whole genre. And so I ordered the one that was from not from SAO 1, but SAO 2 Part 1. There's 2 parts. I ordered this from a place called, I think, Toy Arena, and on Amazon. Is that where it come from? That was actually very well packaged. Yeah, so I got it from this place. Nice packaging. Some of the cheaper places, they sell Chinese bootlegs of these. So I kind of bought from a more reputable place. And a lot of the places also ship from Japan, and that can take, not only is the shipping expensive, but it can take like up to 2 or 3 weeks. So this place actually is in California. They have a warehouse there. So I only had to wait a couple days. Paid a little bit more for it, but the shipping was inexpensive. So this is a figure of Kirito from SAO 2 Part 1, like I said, in his bizarre avatar, which has a very androgynous look to it, to him, her. And that kind of fits in my mood these days, so I thought it might be cool to have. I had forgotten, like, at the time I'd seen the second part of Sword Art Online. I wasn't sure I really liked it. But I actually watched it again, and the second part, and that actually was much better than I remembered it. I remember it being kind of boring. But then I could be mistaking it with the second part of Sword Art Online Part 1, which was kind of terrible. Because Sword Art Online 1, okay, now I'm going to nerd out here. Sword Art Online Part 1 was pretty good. But then they had, like, strong characters. Like, there was this character, Asuna, who was, like, the leader of this guild. The premise of this anime is, like, a whole bunch of VR MMORPG players get stuck in this world and they can't log out for, like, 2 years. And so they're trapped in this place, and if you actually die in the virtual simulation, your body dies as well. So Asuna was like a strong woman leader for one of the guilds in there. Kirito was like a independent, not affiliated with any guild. But in the second part of it, she got really lame. It's like they took all of her all of her impressive qualities as being like a strong leader and a good fighter, and they trapped her in this cage for the entire second part, and she just pined the entire thing. It was like what's wrong with this? It's like it was horrible. But it's in part 2 of SAO2, which kind of her story. It's a little bit better. So let's take a look at this. We have audio working still. I should make sure that's working. I don't hear anything. That's not good. It could be because it's defaulted to. All right, so it is working. Good. All right. Let's take a look. So this is a small, pretty small figure, but it's supposed to be highly posable. This is from a company called Good Smile, and their Figma line, which are highly posable figures. I've never had one before. This looks like a real one too, which is like why I bought from the more reputable place. So there's a stand, and it looks like there's different hair, there's different accessories, there's even like different faces. So does it stand by itself? There's also like a stand, I think, that allows for dynamic poses. And so you can, if you look at the back of this box, you can see over here there's like a stand that will support the figure in these various dynamic poses. So this will go up with the other figures that are up there. So I'm slowly and expensively building a small collection of like anime and toy figures. I've actually got more of these, but I've been wanting to make a nice display of them because it's like one of my nerdy interests, and like one of the goals for this year and for next year and for who knows how long it will be. One of my goals is to find ways of expressing what I love and being what I love. And so I actually have some more thoughts on that a little bit later. But let me just put this away so I don't lose anything, and then we'll go to the next part, which is, this probably goes in the front. The next, which is the nail polish box. How does this work? Why is this backwards? Let's go like this. It's kind of strange. Oh, I must have put it inside out. All right. So anyway, that's that. We'll get some sort of display going later. So the second thing is this item. So like this is just a plastic box, and it's a plastic box though for storing nail polishes, and they come in various sizes. I got one that holds 36 of them, which I have 16 right now, plus various other pieces, like like the nail polish remover and stuff like that. So essentially, it's a case that I think it just opens both sides. How does this work? Let's go to split view. So here's the case, and over here, I guess it opens up like this? No? Oh yeah, it just pulls apart, it looks like. Yeah, okay, so then there's like all these spaces for the bottles, and there's a long space here for holding taller bottles. So it opens from this side, and it opens from this side as well. And since it stores the bottles upright, and it's fairly compact, so I should just be able to shove them all in there. So let's see how that goes. So that's what I'm looking at now. Let's start shoving stuff in there. Oh my god, this is so pleasurable. I'm just putting these things in. Oh, and then there's this. Does this fit? Oh, I screwed up this nail. Got chipped. I got a lot of these. Does this really hold 36? 1, 2, 3, there's 6. 3 times 6, that's 18. I'll just have to figure out how to sort these later. Well, you know what? This is kind of awesome. I wonder if I could put 2 in each one. Oh, yes. Alright, that is even more awesome. And these I can put here, and I can put that one there. And these are crappy ones. And crap. I could sort these by color. These are like all the weird flesh-colored ones. These are the purpley ones, or the metallics. I don't even know what this one's. Kind of these random one-offs. Maybe this is the pink layer, this is the blue layer. Okay. I am very pleased. And then over here I'm just grabbing some other stuff. Which is sitting in this box. Grabbing this, will these fit? If this all fits, I'll be really happy. Whoa, let's fill out this chair. Boom. Will this fit? That's maybe that's too much. But then I have like these things, which are various coats. This is like some sort of top coat that I thought might be shinier. There's so many like things to master. I'll just take those out of the box later. Oh, it almost fits in. But actually, maybe these things I can put on the other side. I'm such a nerd. So maybe this row can be those things. And then there's like one of these bottles. And then there's this thing and this pen. So that can go in there, and then this can go here, I guess. So everything fits on one side. That is awesome. And I still have like some remaining stuff, but like once I get rid of this stuff though, that will lower the number of pieces I have in the house. And everything should be good. So that is that. Ooh. It's like a Hot Wheels box, except it's color. I'm so happy. All right, so I'm just going to put that down there. This stuff, we're done with that. Now, what are we up to? I was going to say, what did I write in the chat notes? So it's a show and tell. Quick look at the work and the ETP for the day. All right, so we need to look at the ETP. So let's take a look at this again. This is today's ETP sheet. I'll move this back. Yesterday, is there anything of note? When was the last time I streamed this? I did get some stuff done yesterday. I didn't really outline everything here, but I did do a little bit better in remembering where I left off, and I think I'm at the point that I can do something that's pretty to be able to pick up more easily. So if I switch to screen view here and I open up my Quiver notebook, which is where I have my starting up ritual. If you didn't tune in the other day, the earlier this week, I've been trying to make this this ritual in which if I'm in the mood to start doing work and am distracted and unhappy about it, these are steps that I'm trying to make into a habit for getting into the work mode. I'm expressing this badly, but the idea is like to have some sort of checklist and to leverage my ability to react to something as opposed to synthesize what it is. So the difference between that is if you're looking at something that's telling you what to do, it's easier to say, I want to do that, I don't want to do that, or what is the next step, because there's something specific that you can answer. Whereas if you're trying to do something from scratch, what I would call synthesis, you not only have to think of what it is you're doing and define it, you also then need to pick something to do. That's harder. And if you're not trained in doing it, it's maybe beyond you until you've done it a few times, and then it becomes something that's more practiced. So one of the things that I'm trying to develop in myself is the ability to move into any project domain, any problem domain, be able to synthesize some foundation of understanding, and then acquire the skills and insights and principles that allow me to function and produce and perform in that area. In this case, I'm trying to build an entire blogging system technically from the ground up. I don't want to just like you install a WordPress blog. I've done that. I want to actually make a system that will compile everything for me, and I now have the technical skills to do that, but I don't have a clear idea about like how do you arrange how do you even build the thing. It's like, okay, I know how to use a hammer, I know how to saw wood. How do I build the house of my dreams? That's kind of the order of things. It's not even like how do I build a house. How do I build a house? I can just buy blueprints or follow someone else's directions. How do I build the house of my dreams? That's an additional design challenge. And so like just knowing that that's very daunting tends to stop me from starting in the first place. So that's what this ritual is about. So this is designed to meet my emotional needs in starting a project, because that really is what's preventing me from starting. If you're procrastinating on something and you're not doing it, that's not a process issue. That's you being contrary, or there's something in you that's stopping you, because there's nothing really literally stopping you from doing it. So this is really designed for me to get beyond that. And I started bolding things so I could just jump to see. So I might not need to actually look at the preparation ritual and the work session ritual every day to get going. But this is the default starting point. Maybe I can turn this into a cool game board or something like that. So as I refine this, each time I start the work session, that's what I end up doing. But yesterday what I did was I had gotten these, well, this is the second chunk. I had done all the documentation on the website that describes what it does, which is over here on GitHub in the wiki here. So this is outlining what the thought processing engine how it will work, what the directory structure is. Yesterday I actually made this directory structure Added a thought file with minimum front matter. Front matter is like the metadata that will allow the system to process it into different places. Did a little bit digging into Metalsmith, which is the code package that I'm thinking of basing this on. And now the next step is to read a file from a directory structure just to see if it works and start processing it. So I actually have, like, I would say, the scaffolding that I need to be able to move forward on this project. And so the next step is really just actually doing that next step. And that's the hard part for me. Because it's one step in like 1,000, or if not more, if not 10,000 steps to get from here to a fully functioning, wonderful, beautiful blog system. It's not a short, easy, quick undertaking to build something like this from scratch. I am building on the shoulders of giants, though, like Node.js, like these editors, the tools that we have available today to make stuff. It's incredible. Just putting it all together, that's where it takes some perseverance. And it's, if you haven't done it enough times, or if it's new to you, or if you're just in a bad mood, it's almost impossible to start it. Or at least that's what it feels like. And really, there's nothing stopping me from just actually starting. It's like, okay, let me read a file. How do you read a file? I don't even know why that resistance is there, but it just is. So that is that. That's just all I'm going to talk about today. There was a few other things I wanted to mention. I had some thoughts today about, what did I say? Oh, the Patreon stuff. So, so I have been running this Patreon page and just really kind of just to play around with it. So on my Patreon page, it's like, there's 60 patrons now that are paying like $1 or more to support my work. My work consists of making productivity tools, like these NaNoWriMo calendars, like some of the other things, like some of the downloads I'm providing to patrons are things like this task order up for 3.5-inch cards, the Emergent Task Planner Journal 2017. If you're supported in any way, you get access to that, which is normally I think $12. So stuff like that. But I had the thought of, how do I really make this something I want that reflects me, which is like, again, one of the themes for this year. And I thought maybe I could turn it into kind of like a perk club. So you join. You're not only supporting my work, but that the monthly amount that's being collected. So like every month, 60 people are donating an average of $2 or so. And I've been running this for about a year. So I mean, I have about 100 times. I have almost $1,000 these aren't being deposited in my account. They're just being held by Patreon right now, because I haven't been sure what to do with it. But I think I can use those funds as a way of funding the production of fun things. Like printed, like your limited edition printed things. If you're a patron, you get a code that will take you to the website where you can actually purchase it for a very nominal fee, knowing that you help fund it and help support it. And I think that might be a nice direct way of doing it. And plus, like running a club sounds fun, like the fun club where you get fun things and I can design fun things and share fun things and just produce things. I had been talking. Yesterday I went to see my printer, and who's based like nearby Merrimack, New Hampshire. I was looking to see if they could produce some items on their new print-on-demand press. And so things like index cards. I talked about this yesterday. Index cards and maybe even like short-run calendars. Now, the print-on-demand I've avoided it because the per-page cost for print-on-demand it's maybe 10 times higher than if you do a traditional offset press run. The issue is, but to make an offset press run cost-effective, you need to do much larger quantities. So like the minimum is about 10,000 sheets. And so your minimum job is between $1,500 and $3,000. Yeah, so every time I produce a run of stuff, it costs me that much money to do it. So I haven't been able to scale it up to test many products. But I can use the print on demand to maybe test concepts and just like not make any money off of them. Maybe there's ways I can work out deals with the print shop saying, I don't care if you take the bulk of the profit from this. Shoot me like a minor royalty, and like if we can figure out a way of automating the system, the production of customized products, and automate it into some degree, I would find that much cooler than just by doing a traditional print run and trying to create a product that will work with existing wholesale retail models. Making a club, that might be fun. So this is something I'm just kind of turning around my head right now. If you have any ideas about this, let me know. Just hit me up on the chat room or on Twitter, one of those places. Let's see. Then the last thing I wanted to talk about today, and then I'm done, is, if I can find my sheet. Ah, yes, this is an insight I had. The critical relationship between, well, let's start. Here I wrote the critical relationship between connection, appearances, and being seen. The original insight came from the difference between appearances and being seen. So I was thinking, so I have all these bandages on my face, right? And like I have this nail polish on my hand. So I going to Starbucks, and I'm finding like just people are generally too polite to say anything. They may notice something, and that's usually not an issue. So that's gives me the notion that I can get away with a lot more than I'm really trying to do. But what stops me from doing that? What stops me from wearing a big, colorful, floppy hat or cat ears or any of these sort of things? It's the sake of appearances. I don't want to look like an insane person, or I don't want to put people off, or don't want people to think like I'm weird or defective or mentally unstable or any of these sort of things. And why? I don't know. There's this notion that there's a cost to not fitting in. But it occurred to me today that if I can move around and not do things for appearances, but for the sake of just sharing what's inside of me, and this is what I mean by being seen. Being seen, and I think the corollary to that is to be, to want to be seen. One way of putting it maybe is to be a beacon of those values and interests that you hold deep inside of you. That's part of this exercise of personal expression this year. How do I do more of that? And how do I make more of my values visible? So, some of my values are, like, I want to create a nice space for people to be themselves and be creative and share ideas. In fact, I wrote it down in like this startup ritual thing. I think I did anyway. There are the GHDR distillations here. So they're the strategic goals here. Here I'm saying these bolded ones are actual goals. G09 is what I'm talking about. They express joy in being my odd self with no need to apologize. But things like this, it's okay to practice mastery. The mastery. Well, these are more like tips, but being my best self in society, this is more what I'm talking about. To express what I like with unfiltered pleasure when someone is receptive to listening. I need to rewrite these. To be positive even when people don't like what I like. To not take things personally. To affirm that I like what I like. There's no need to justify it. But being happy to explain why I'm doing something if someone happens to be interested enough to ask. Saying with confidence who I am through physical props and expression so other people can see what's inside of me. Not reacting to negative feedback to my expression of what I like. I don't need to justify myself with respect to other people's standards. Not comparing my likes and dislikes with other people's as a means of judgment, because it doesn't really help anything. Curiously seek to understand other people's hierarchies of values and understanding, not to feel threatened just because someone doesn't agree, embrace the differences and be curious instead. To spread my attitude about people coming together through sharing what we like and also what we think. to be someone who tries to create a safe space where people can be who they are. These are all things that are really close to me. And I often don't express those because of like a fear of being laughed at or people won't get it. And it's actually, you know, these values have been a long time in making. You know, like I used to describe it as being around conscientious, self-empowered, kind, capable, generous people. It describes, you know, the kind of, you know, communities I like. But it didn't really capture kind of the things that were at the center of my heart. And these are the things that I think are really the underlying mission of what it is that I'm doing, like in my career. I guess you would call it my vocation or my calling, is to create these environments and to be able to, through as an example, to be able to express those things that are in myself. And, you know, so I guess maybe the thing that helped me break out of this was like, you know, going through this whole gender identity crisis and going like, and just realize that like things were not as cut and dried as I had thought. So now, like, you know, before I said, oh, maybe I'm just a little bit strange. Maybe I'm just a little bit out of the mainstream. You know, maybe I'm just a nerd. Maybe I'm just like you know, like, you know, I thought I was a little bit more mainstream, but now, like, you know, having like looked at this gender identity stuff and thinking, okay, it's good. There's a good possibility that I'm way out there now on the fringe, or I'm part of a marginalized group that's actively oppressed. And now, having met those people, like, it's this issue of like creating safe spaces, allowing people to express themselves, tolerance, you know, like being in community, and it's still like, you know, being part of something, of creating like these positive connections as opposed to creating walls. And then also being strong enough to be able to withstand those kind of assaults and not, you know, react negatively or like, you know, in a preemptive, destructive way. But to have the resilience and to have the strength to be able to withstand it and continue to build these sanctuary moments and these sanctuary places. And this is what I was gonna say this is what my design work is about. It's not quite that. It's more about being my best self. Maybe this is really what the goal is. So being my best self is what happened to the how come I can't highlight this? Oh, here it is. Being my best self is maybe the goal, and learning how to project that is the vocation. Is this my vocation? So that's all I wanted to talk about today. To recap, got a new toy. Got a new box to store nail polish in. Been having a pretty good time, like working out through this starting here status thing. I've been making progress in these stuck projects. The process isn't perfect, but each day, like, I'm getting a little bit better at refining my approach to it. And so at the end of it, hopefully I'll have a bunch of things that can, what is this? I'll have a bunch of things that can be turned into, I think I accidentally, okay. I'll be able to write again. I'll be able to share all these things that I'm learning in a way that's more shareable. I'll be able to like reveal more of what I'm interested in a way that's useful to other people rather than it is on my website now, where it's impossible to find anything. And by creating these anchor points, these could be the seeds for other people finding, at least other people who are interested in what they're interested in, or they could be seeds for them on their own explorations. It's hard to find good information on the internet. You can find plenty of information about something, but a lot of it's kind of crappy. You know, well, where's the good stuff? So being able to put some of that good stuff on the internet, so not only that other people can see it, and then through that see me, but also so I can find it, so I can remember what I'm doing, and so I can my daily activities are building towards something that is meaningful, and maybe that meaning is, you know, how do I be my best self? How can I find other people who are being their best selves, and how can we all like work together along these goals? And being our best selves, you know, to me that means being part of like a supportive community that is getting stuff done. but not just for the sake of appearances or for the sake of just looking busy. No, because there's a kind of reality and authenticity. I'm not always productive, you know. I try my best, and I get frustrated from time to time. Everybody gets frustrated. A lot of these productivity systems I see out there, they all work if you apply the rules to them. There's nothing difficult about it. But getting to that point where you can accept your own resistances and see them clearly, so you can work around them, maybe with other people. I think that is the way I want to go. You know, so those are my thoughts on this for now. So with that, that's today's What's Up, Dave. Sorry if this ran philosophical. I've been trying to think about how I'm going to change the nature of this show when I get to 200 episodes or something like that, which is pretty soon. I may take a break and think about, you know, if this mission about being my best self is really what I'm doing, then that's something I can repackage around. It's not productivity, it's not personal development. It's really this, you know, this notion of like how to be your best self, and then like collectively telling the stories about how we're doing it. That would be wonderful, I think. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Let's see, is this thing, hopefully I didn't run out of juice. Is it still going? I guess it is. I seem to be sinking into my chair. Oh, that's done.